Palestine, rest in peace to the women and children in paradise. Palestine, they cut off the water, food, but we never see spirit like. Palestine, thousands under the rubber still trying to find Madeline. Palestine, God promised the land, so we know one day we'll free Palestine. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified. Real eyes realize, real lies, newsflash, nobody's buying your alibis. Biden, CC, Sunak, who's that? Pray to the Lord, cause we know who come through at 1940s, you ran from the Holocaust, only Palestinians came through at. Now it's ethnic cleansing, genocide, told me how could you do that? If you want peace then end the apartheid, Muslims don't hate Jews like. This news ain't new, don't check the news, you'll finally find the truth fact. Millions homeless, bombs exploding, media keeps on telling lies. This war didn't start this year, that's lies, it's been going on for 7-5. Dystopia, I'm speechless, how could you let this happen? Them kids that's dying, colourless, lifeless, could be your kids, it's a mad thing. Father's crying, he lost his wife and kids got a bomb just crushed in. 2 million suffering cramped in, wondering if we see what's happening. Palestine, rest in peace to the women and children in paradise. Palestine, they cut off the water, food, but we never see spirit like. Palestine, thousands under the rubber still trying to find Madeline. Palestine, God promised the land, so we know one day we'll free Palestine. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified. How could I rap on this beat with heart when little bro stuck in the darkest house? How could I eat when in Palestine for the son to eat the mums he starves? How could I sleep on a bed so clean when they ain't got yards cause they tore it apart? How could I drink water so clean they drink sea water? Turn that. Questions, tell me who's gonna answer them. It's inhumane but my people's strong, it's deeper than land or politics. Questions, tell me who's gonna answer them. It's inhumane but my people's strong, it's deeper than land or politics. Politics stomach it, hospitals bombing it, organs torn cause the bombs keep dropping. The promise is coming, you better acknowledge it. Palestine's ours, we'll never be done with it. Everyone's struggling, shouting, huddling, no food, kid get sick, can't vomit it. Causes prominent, will be dominant. Palestine's ours, we'll never be done with it. Palestine, rest in peace to the women and children in paradise. Palestine, they cut off the water, food, but we never see spirit like. Palestine, thousands under the rubber still trying to find Madeline. Palestine, God promised the land, so we know one day we'll free Palestine. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified. Terrorists told me who's getting terrorized. Anyone saying it's justified, what a lie, little kids dying and petrified.
Gaza Strip. But Gaza Strip is living in a continuous state of life.
His support for that genocide and that we won't stop fighting for Palestine. Make some noise! Now today probably marks the end of summer and I can see some of you rubbing your hands to keep warm. I have another way that you can keep warm, is by shouting. Are you ready to shout? We're gonna do free Palestine. But we're gonna start quietly, like you're talking to the person next to you, and we're gonna build up with every chant until we're so loud that the doors of Downing Street are rocking with our voices. Free, free. 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 Make some noise! much.
All Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
I'm proud to introduce our next speaker. She's the co-leader of the Green Party.
On Al-Mawazi, you are not paying attention. The displaced civilians are not safe in a safe zone. What is it for? The conditions faced by Palestinians have violated even the most basic understanding of human rights. The indiscriminate bombings, the unimaginable number of civilians, with women and children being killed, injured and displaced, the brutal attacks on alleged safe zones, the deliberate withholding of millions of lives of water. These are some of the worst breaches of international law that I have ever seen. These attacks on Gaza amount to collective punishment. That much is clear. And I am clear that the Israeli government, as well as Hamas, must be held fully accountable. The four new Green Party MPs will do everything we can to advocate for an immediate and bilateral ceasefire, a full suspension of arms sales to Israel, the safe return of hostages, and end to the illegal occupation and for a future in which all Palestinians and Israelis have peace and justice. At our party conference, as you just heard, last weekend, the Green Party became the first political party in the Little Wales to recognise the Israeli government conduct as apartheid and genocide. We don't use terms like genocide or apartheid, but they are a sad reflection of the atrocities being carried out by the Israeli government. And we reaffirmed our support for the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement. We will press the government to step up its actions here in the UK, including full cooperation with the international courts. I am here, we are all here, because we want peace in the Middle East. And we are all here because we believe in human rights for everyone, no matter where they are. Thank you.
Long live Palestine! 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 Now I want you to make a lot of noise for our next speaker. He's the director of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. That's the biggest Palestine Solidarity organization in this country, and that has been at the forefront of the amazing movement that we have seen standing up for the people of Palestine. Make some noise for Ben Jamal! In their struggle against colonialism, make some noise for Ho McLaughlin!
So looking at the cartel, it's a good honour to be here with you this evening.
Speak up.
Solidarity from Ireland. For 11 months the world has watched more of genocide broadcast in real time. The genocide recorded by its victims. We have watched it daily on our smartphones. Men, women, children, multiple generations wiped out in this country. That is not something else. But it must be called out for what it is. Genocide and detention. Genocide, detention, occupation, discrimination are systematic practices that the apartheid Israeli state inflicts on Palestinian people. The Israeli government is acting with global impunity and with the complicity of the US, Britain and other Western powers. I am proud that Sinn Féin have consistently challenged the US and these administrations directly on their support for Israel. Let us be clear. Arms sales to Israel must cease. We call on the international community to support the joint South African government has committed to launching a public inquiry into the 1989 murder of a human rights lawyer, a human rights defender killed by loyalist escorts, active collusion with the British state. May I take this opportunity to commend the political family and my party colleague John Lincoln MP. They should not have been made to wait 35 years for truth and justice. And that is why my friends we stand with Palestine, because we know what it's like to be in the receiving end of street violence. The truth of what's taking place in Gaza and the West Bank is clearly seen today. We will not allow for another 35 years to pass before the truth to lead and respect the recognize of the new power. Until Israel exists as a party to crash and slaughter, we will continue to support the boycott, the loss of the sanctions campaign. I say only this, we see you. We are forever with you, and we will never abandon you. We're a my
is the chair of the International Committee of Unison, which is one of the biggest trade unions in the country and has been calling consistently for a ceasefire and an end to the occupation. Make some noise for Liz Wheatley!
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Ben mentioned the Trade Union Congress that he just come back from. I've also just come back from there today, where I've been a delegate for a youth trade union. We debated and passed two fantastically important motions for Palestine. And I have to say, when Ambassador Sumlot addressed the Congress as well, he was a much harder and much stronger standing ovation than Chris down the hand the day before. First of all, this morning, we agreed with the TUC to call for a ban on all export licenses to Israel. Not just 10% that David Lamb has done, but 100%. Because 90% of genocide is still a genocide. And as a trade union movement, we cannot be silent about that genocide taking place. Because I've stood on platforms here 3 times in as many months after massacres in schools, in camps, where Palestinians have been sheltering and where scores of them have been killed. Al-Nawasir is the latest of those, but unless we force the government to stop arming Israel, it won't be the last. We also agreed, therefore, to strengthen our campaign of boycott, divestment and sanctions, and to take that campaign into our workplaces and to build solidarity with Palestine. We also agreed to campaign for a Palestinian state to be recognised. We will do all of these, whatever the government is in Downing Street, in Westminster, because they may have changed in July, but our demands have only strengthened. And later on this morning, we also passed a motion about organising to stop the escalation of war in the Middle East, something that's essential since we've seen the attacks by Israel on Lebanon, Syria and Iraq. And importantly in that motion, the TUC has backed the call for a nationwide workplace day of action on the 10th of October, a day where solidarity with Palestine in as many trade union branches of workplaces as possible. This is important so we can encourage more union members to protest, to divest and to pressure the government to stop arms sales. Because wars are fought by the poor to kill the poor of another country, and we have no interest in participating or supporting that. Because trade unions should always stand by the oppressed. We should stand for peace, for justice and for liberation. It matters not only that we stand on the right side of history, we have to stand on the right side today, tomorrow, next week and next month. And that's why Palestine is a trade union issue. It always has been
and it always will be until Palestine is free.
Palestine! Palestine! Palestine!
Do we want it? No! I'm really proud to introduce our next speaker. He's another MP in the House of Commons who has always stood up against apartheid, against injustice, for working people. He has been a thorn in the side of the establishment since 1983. He's the independent member of Parliament for Islington North. And the demand for a ceasefire. We will not stop until it's been achieved. You will not stop until it's been achieved. We will not go away until we've achieved that. Going on demonstrations can seem often repetitive, tiring, and sometimes you wonder, well, is it all worthwhile? I just say this. Over the last months, all of this year and the latter part of the last year, we've had march after march. Every time we're criticised for holding a march, every time the Home Office or the Metropolitan Police try to stop the march taking place, it shows it's working. It shows that they want our voice to be silenced, and that's why we will not allow that to happen. Today, the British government has announced yet more money going for weapons to different parts of the world, in this case they also announced they're going to raise defence expenditure to 2.5% of GDP, and despite David Lammy saying he was going to suspend some arms supplies to Israel, 300 licences are still in force. Cancelling 30 licences, we were assured by him a few minutes later will make no difference to Israel's ability to wage military conflict. So what is the point of it other than a cosmetic exercise to try and buy a bit of peace for the government? Well, I'm not here to give peace to those people that are supplying weapons, that are raining down on children in Gaza. I'm not here to make life easy for the weapons manufacturers. We are here because we want to see an end to the conflict by a ceasefire, by the withdrawal of all Israeli forces from Gaza and the West Bank. What is going on is unbelievably outrageous. The killing of people by the latest bombardment of what was supposed to be a safe zone. People drowning in sand because the sand is blown around by the explosion. Just imagine that. You're suddenly covered in sand. Your last memory of life is a terrible choking feeling as you can no longer breathe and your mouth and your nose full of sand. And that is what's happening to people in Gaza. 40,000 already dead. Children who've survived but lost all their family will have what's called survivor's guilt for the rest of their lives. Why are they alive? Their mum, their dad, their auntie, cousins, all gone. That is the reality of what this bombardment has done. It's not surprising that the International Court of Justice has declared it to be acts of genocide, but the ICC has issued arrest warrants against the leaders of the Israeli government, that the Geneva Convention on the duties of occupying powers has been breached so many times, the UN Security Council has been breached, the UN General Assembly has been breached. So I ask myself this question: if this was any other country in the world, would Britain still be supplying weapons? Would we still be having a normal relationship with that government? No, of course we wouldn't. So, the demand to stop all arms supplies is a very strong and very serious one. It's not just arms supplies, it is the technology that goes with it, it is the surveillance flights that take place over Gaza, it is what happens to that information collected by those surveillance flights, it is what is going on at Royal Air Force Base in Courtenay as a staging point towards taking weapons into Israel. As our demonstrations go on, more and more comes out, more and more information comes out, more and more news comes out. And so, we've got to carry on doing it. We've got to be here today because of what's happened in the last few hours almost, last couple of days. We've also got to be in Liverpool on the 21st, and that means there'll be an awful lot of media there, so there needs to be a lot of flags and a lot of noise there. And on October the 5th is the next national demonstration. Let's make that even bigger than the biggest ones we've had before. Keep on growing the numbers, because that makes a lot of people very, very nervous, and that itself will bring about that sense of international solidarity. We cannot be silent, we cannot be idle, we cannot just be spectators. We have got to do everything we can to support the rights of Palestinian people.
They do one of the guys. Yeah, you know. I just actually last week because I think because of interviews rather than
Many of us here.
it's one of the few places, and unless you actually go on Telegram and find it, it's a few places where they
So,
you get a real sense and you know that
this occupied power, that is the reality of life for most Palestinian people. It's our duty to stand in solidarity with them.
I mean, they managed to
This government seems to be able to find money for weapons, seems to be able to somehow or other continue supplying
well, they sent an email around
Israel, yet at the same time take the winter fuel allowance away from cold, older people in this country and refuse to lift the cap on the two-child benefit policy. They seem able to continue the levels of injustice, inequality and poverty the Tories left behind, and seem to want to carry on with the foreign policy they have. I say no, I say unity, I say march, I say demonstrate, I say stand with the people of Palestine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And what a comparison with the politicians in that building right there who are continuing to facilitate this genocide. When I say Keir Starmer, you say blood on your hands. Keir Starmer!
Blood on your hands!
Keir Starmer!
Blood on your hands!
David Lammy!
Blood on your hands!
Keir Starmer!
Blood on your hands!
David Lammy!
Blood on your hands!
Keir Starmer!
Blood on your hands!
Now, our next speaker is a senior campaigner on Palestine at War on Once, which is an organization that has been at the forefront of campaigning against Israel.
Coming out tonight, once again. We are here to respond and to bear witness to yet another murderous and I believe deliberate attack, this time on a humanitarian zone. To another act of unimaginable horror. But we also here to bear witness to the fact that there is an enormous gulf between the official response in British society and the reality on the ground. There is an enormous gulf between the politicians and the people. And we are here to say that our government is not representing us, and it is not representing the majority of people in this country. We are here to go further and to say that our government is complicit in the genocide. We are here to go further and to say that the truth is, given the role of the British government in supporting the US and the United Nations, given the role of the British government as being the main champion on the world stage of US foreign policy towards Israel, this this genocide could not be happening without the support of the British government. Now, anyone who says or thinks that what happens in foreign policy is none of their business isn't paying attention. During this genocide, the political discourse in this country has been degraded. How could supporting a genocide not have a toxic effect on politics? Islamophobia has been ramped up by the politicians and by the media, and it's been picked up by Tommy Robinson and his fascist thugs as they've rioted on our streets. Freedom of speech is under attack. Journalists, activists have been picked up on the streets. They've had their homes raided in the morning. They've been taken into detention for simply reporting the truth about what is happening on the ground in Gaza. And now there have been unprecedented attempts to clamp down, to restrict, to provide obstacles in our right of protest and our right to demonstrate. And I want to thank each and every one of you who made it clear last Saturday, last week, that whatever the threats from the police, whatever the threats from the authorities, you would be marching anyway.
Yes.
Saturday we had a victory for the right to protest. The police were forced to back down. It was a major victory for the whole of the movement. But we also have to say, and we have said from the beginning, that there is another way in which these wars, the support for Israel, the backing of the genocide, affects every one of us. We've said from the beginning that every pound spent arming Israel, every pound backing war in different parts of the globe, is a pound that is not spent on our schools, that is not spent on our hospitals, that is not spent on our housing, that is not spent on our wages. Unfortunately, within 2 months of being elected, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves have proved this in the most appalling way.
Yeah, exactly.
We are now in the extraordinary situation of having a new Labour government that spends £500 million, or commits to continuing to spend £500 million a year in support of Israel, that spends billions on the war in Ukraine, that is ramping up arms spending overall, and yet insists on cutting its lifeline to freezing pensioners this winter. This is a government completely adrift. This is a government with a hole where its heart should be. This is a government that needs to be confronted. And this is why the next demonstration called by the coalition is a demonstration in Liverpool in 10 days' time on the 21st of September at the Labour Party conference, and make sure that you are there. It is all of our duties to be there. It is a matter of principle that we have to be there to try and turn this government around. And the final thing I want to say is this. Don't let anyone tell you that what we are doing isn't working, that what we are doing isn't making a difference. It's extraordinarily frustrating that we are coming up to a year of this genocide, but it is nevertheless the case that step by step the movement is growing and our influence on society is increasing. Israel is isolated on the world stage. Israel has become a pariah state. Even in Israel itself, hundreds of thousands of people are now calling for a ceasefire and calling for an end to the Netanyahu government. That simply wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for this global movement. And the scenes today, and they were heartening, and they were inspiring, the scenes today of the Palestinian ambassador receiving a standing ovation at the Trade Union Congress was historic. The TUC voted unanimously that this government must stop giving arms to Israel is a massive step forward. It is unprecedented. The fact that the TUC Congress voted to support workers who take action, who get on the days of action to free Palestine, calling for a ceasefire, is itself a massive step forward and is unprecedented. It shows that our movement is growing in influence, that we are influencing the very heart of the trade union and workers' movement in this country, and that is an extraordinary thing and a massive step forward. Solidarity with all of you today. Make sure you come to Liverpool. Make sure you also have in your minds the next national demonstration, which is going to be at that shameful moment of 1 year on in the genocide. Is taking place on the streets of London on the 5th of October. We want to make sure that is another massive display of opposition to our government's collusion, a massive display of opposition to our government's participation in this genocide, and that it is another step forward in building this movement to the scale that can deliver what we are all looking for. There are only a handful of people in British society now who really support what Israel is doing. 8% of people, 8%, a tiny minority of the British population who are backing the government, who are backing the establishment, who are backing the warmongers. We represent the overwhelming majority of people in this country. We represent the vast majority of decent people who believe that a genocide has to end, that there has to be a ceasefire. Our job is to turn that majority into mobilisation on the streets. 1 year on, we need to make sure there's not just 100,000 marching, not just 200,000. We need to make sure that the whole of London is brought to a standstill on October the 5th.